Hey howdy, hey partners. Today we have some 1966 Batman toys from McFarlane. Let's get into it.
Reach for the sky.
You're watching Today I Grew Up.
To infinity and beyond!
Back again, super excited because this is something that goes back to my childhood. I am a huge fan of the 1966 Batman and Robin show. It was an amazing classic TV series, and it was one that I would watch on reruns. I am not old enough to be alive in the 60s. I was a 90s kid. I grew up in the 90s. And they were still showing at that time this show, which changed my life. This TV series made me a huge Batman fan. And to this day, I love 1966 Batman the most because it's what I remember watching on the weekends as a kid, in the mornings or in the afternoons, or when I got home after school. And I would just watch this show because it was so fun. I loved the villains. I loved our heroes, Batman and Robin. And so it's just surreal to have this in my hands. It's so cool to have this in action figure form, representations of the Batman and Robin that I knew as a kid, and I really, really love it. I was going to get the vintage scale collection by Mezco, but then I realized that McFarlane made really awesome sculpts here, and I love that they came with their little signs that says like wham, bam, and kapow, and pow, because when Batman and Robin punch somebody on the show, like the villains, you would see these signs pop out, kind of like the comic book, and it was just the live action version of that, so that is really cool. The actor who played Batman in the 1966 series was Adam West, and he looks like Adam West. His body has that, dad bod, stereotypical kind of thing, and cloth cape, which is really nice. It's kind of got this shiny material to it. It's limited articulation, it's not crazy. It's pretty basic. You have your side to side, and you have the arms that go up as well. They do rotate also at the shoulder joint. You do have the elbow bend. You actually have some wrist articulation here individually around the wrist too. So that is pretty neat. And so that's so Batman can punch. And then you get the sign here. He's got a POW right here. We'll put that POW on his wrist. And there is the POW. He can punch Joker or something, or one of the villains. POW. And I really like that. I think that's really fun. And if you did like live action or stop motion, that definitely would come in handy. I think it looks really cool. Good job on detailing on the utility belt. Nothing too crazy, but it's definitely true to what we saw in the screen. So that's cool. Love the boots. It's just everything about this figure, especially the head sculpt. I think the likeness of Adam West is there. And it really does look like Adam West from 1966 Batman, as it should. I'm just really impressed with this. The actor who played Robin on the show was Burt Ward. Really cool. He was actually an unknown actor at the time who was breaking into the business. When they did the casting for him, they were like, this is Robin. And they just had a feeling, and he ended up being a great Robin. He just had the look and the youth. They wanted a young boy wonder to be the sidekick of Batman. And it's really funny, the outfit. I mean, looking back on it now, it's crazy. It looks, basically they're wearing like underwear outside their bodies. But that's just true to the comic book and how they were in there. And I really love the colors, the bright 1966 kind of deco and style and coloring really brings me back to that era. And I'm a fan of the 60s. If I could have been born in another era, I would have picked the 60s because I just love the style of the 60s. I thought it was super cool, and it made for great television as well back then. These are actually one of the first shows that were in color back then, and it was still a newer technology. That's how old 1966 Batman is. But I love this Robin, and like Batman, he comes with his little wrist attachments where he can have an action feature like wham, and he can also punch with the action signs, which I really love. So how could I have Batman and Robin without the Batmobile? This is just a given. I know that McFarlane released a Batmobile at Target recently. It was about $30. When I looked at it, I was like, that is gross. There's no red detailing on the wheel. It just was too small. It didn't actually fit the figure as well, which just defeats the purpose of a Batmobile. But I found this one on eBay. It was close to $100, but it's made by Mattel, and it actually came out a while ago, many years ago, for the Mattel line. I actually prefer the McFarlane figures because I think they did a great job on those over the Mattel. But what Mattel did better was the Batmobile. This just has so many more details, like even the belt. The other McFarlane didn't have a belt feature. It didn't have all the, the sheen and the shininess to it like this one. I like the gloss finish. So, and it's obviously fits Batman and Robin, and it's great. It's a really, really nice Batmobile. This Batmobile actually has the Gotham 1966 license plate, which is amazing. This is the dream right here, guys, for my childhood toy collection. This is the toys that I wish I had when I was a kid, back in the day when I was watching 1966 Batman. Wow, do I wish I had this. It never came out back then because Mattel didn't make it, or these McFarlane figures that just came out. But wow, this is my dream collection. As if I could go back into my childhood like a time machine, I wish I could take these toys with me because they would be my favorite toys. And I just love how you can see there how these figures fit in the Mattel Batmobile way better than the McFarlane. I didn't even bother buying the McFarlane one just because it was so bad. They're like sticking up this far up above the vehicle. It just looks really bad. But they just are seated so perfectly in the Mattel one. So I recommend, if you could afford it or get a good one on a good deal somewhere, I recommend getting the Mattel Batmobile over the McFarlane, because the McFarlane vehicle is just terrible for these figures. Look up video reviews on YouTube. Everybody will say the same thing. It just doesn't scale well. So the Mattel vehicle works, and I just love that I have the Batmobile with Batman and Robin, and they fit like they're supposed to, and that just makes me super happy about this. And I'm just so overjoyed about this. This is amazing, and it looks really true to what we saw on the TV show back then. One thing I do like is McFarlane gave us a Batcycle. It's really, really nice, and it was only $30 at Target, so I'm really happy that I picked this up. I love, again, the 1960s deco and style and coloring. It's very true to the show, and it's just really fun. There was times in the show where Batman and Robin got on this Batcycle and they rode around Gotham on this motorcycle, and it does seem to be a little bit odd sized, I'm gonna say. Like, it's not perfect, but it looks good enough where it passes for me. I think the Batcycle could have been a little bit bigger. It looks a little bit small when Batman sits in there. I know Batman's supposed to be a taller guy, but it just looks like a little bit too small in my opinion. Although I think it's good enough where it passes. This one also with Robin crouching in there with this little Robin pod that comes out, and he's it's pretty funny. It fits and it works, but I think it's just a tad bit too small. And I'm not going to knock McFarlane too hard for that, although I really think they should have scaled their figures better to fit their vehicles better. Like, the Batmobile was terrible, but the Batcycle passes enough for me where it's okay for display. I don't think I'm going to be displaying my Batman and Robin in this Batcycle like this very often, but it's cool. It's a cool option, and I just kind of wanted to have the vehicle because it is featured in the show, and it's cool to have it if I do want to take some pictures or display it. I do actually have the Batcycle, and that's really cool to me to have another vehicle option besides the Batmobile. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. What do you think of this Batcycle? I think it's pretty fun. It works. It's not the best, but it's also not the worst either. And of course, my display could not be complete without getting some of the villains that Batman and Robin faced off in the show. We have the Riddler, we have the Joker here, we have the Penguin, and the Julie Newmar Catwoman, because that's the one that I identified with as a kid. There was another Catwoman named Eartha Kitt. She was a great actress, but I really liked Julie Newmar. She was my favorite. But these are really classic villains, basically the ones that influenced all the modern day villains of these characters, like the Riddler, Joker, Penguin, and Catwoman, which you've known in different versions over the years or decades since 1966. But this was groundbreaking. This was like the first Batman show in the 1960s. Was pretty far ahead of its time. I got the Batcave, guys. I'm so excited, and the Villain's Lair. I'm just so excited. But we're starting with the figures, And here it has all the pictures of the action figures, except for some reason, Catwoman, instead of having a picture of the action figure Catwoman, we actually got a real photograph of Julie Newmar, the actress who played Catwoman. So that is very cool to see. I don't know why, because everyone else, we just got the action figure photo. And I just thought that was really neat. Wow, I'm just really, really happy about this right now. This is literally the dream action figures that I wish I had again as a kid. I never got these, and these are just so incredible. They're just amazing. I'm completely blown away by the sculpt. I think the colors, the paint apps, the vibrant colors just make it so fun. The style of the show is perfectly captured here. I really love the way they look, and I love every single figure. I think they're so awesome for display, and especially because I picked up the villains layer, they're just gonna look so good. Super impressed with the head sculpt on here, the Riddler. It's a very simple figure because his costume is a little simple, but I really love the question marks there on the side of the pants. I think that looks really cool with the purple gloves. I really love the mask on his face. Really completes the look of this villain. He looks super amazing. They really got Cesar Romero's likeness here with the Joker. Looks really, really nice. Just all the details of this is really, what a contrast to the Riddler, because the Riddler's costume was simple, but the Joker's was a little bit complex. It's a little rubbery here too, so he can sit, which is very helpful. I love the green hair. Of course, that's what makes the Joker, is that, clown makeup and red lipstick and the green hair, which looks really fantastic. I love this figure a lot. I really love all these villains equally. The Penguin also, I love that little monocle there on his eye. Looks really good. It really does look like the actor who played the Penguin. And I really like the flexible plastic there so you can sit. Nice shoes details, really like that. But overall, I'm just super excited. I think they got the belly right as well. Penguin, had some extra pounds there. And they captured that likeness really well. Love the purple hat. Probably one of my favorite ones. It's just the likeness of Julie Newmar is amazing on this figure. It really does look like her, especially with the hair, the cat ears, and everything. It just looks so good. I just can't get over this head sculpt. I think it's one of the best head sculpts I've ever owned on an action figure, and not exaggerating. I just think it looks really good, realistic. It just looks so incredible. And look at how awesome and detailed the catsuit is with the little speckled glitter, the gold chain and the gold belt, just like it was in the show. It's very true to that. The boots are nailed as well. It's actually not that hard to stand this figure. There's no pegs or anything, so you just have to kind of rely on posing the legs just right to get your figure to stand, but it does work out in the end. Just be a little patient and give it a little time. But beautiful figure. I really love this Julie Newmar Catwoman. It's my favorite, one of my favorite villain sculpts. Here's a great scene putting up these fun signs. These are just such a genius idea to put these little signs on their wrists that are really easy to clip on so that you can kind of create this action feature. And it looks like they're fighting each other, and it looks really cool and true to the show. So I'm just super excited. Not only did McFarlane give us these great figures and these signs and even the Bat Cycle I'm really grateful for, we got an amazing backdrop, the Villain's Lair and the Bat Cave, which I'll show you next. So here we have the Villains Lair from McFarlane. Look at this amazing playset. It came in this box, and I found it at Target recently, and I got so lucky that I found it. But right away I thought, okay, I'm gonna get a new little shelf here. I'm gonna install the lights and put some mood lighting as well. One of the ones that I was playing with was like the green light. I think that looks really nice and kind of gives it a more cool vibe and aesthetic. I love this table. It comes with a little coffee cup there. I love the portrait of our villains because I have the figures now to match that. Little library here with a cat on top, a little like brick wall it looks like. And over here we have like a computer thing, and we have like filing cabinets, and we also have the accessory for the Penguin's umbrella, which didn't come with the figure, but now you can have it with this playset. So they were hiding. And then back here it says Villains Unite, which is very cool, very simple. And yeah, these are kind of hollow behind, they're not like actual bookcases, they're hollow plastic with sticker decals. But I'm not complaining because from far away it looks really legit. And these chairs are separated so you can move them around, and it's basically a real miniature table. and that is really, really cool. This is one of my favorite things McFarlane did. And then, as seen on TV, Tiny TV Classics, I got this.
It's the grimmest warning we've ever had. Warning? Hemingway's title. It's from a poem by John Donne. Do not ask for whom the bell tolls. It tolls for thee.
So as you can see there, a clip from the show. It's this 1960s style television set. I love these because they really look great with your display. And I love that the TV came with a remote. And it has so many scenes from the show, and it just kind of completes the aesthetic and the vibe of the 60s here to have the Tiny TV Classics. I highly recommend you pick that up and add it to your villains layer or your Batcave. I think it'll look really, really nice. So now let's get our villains in this scene. This looks so amazing. I just love that you can actually sit them down if you wanted to by the table, or having standing up next to each other. It just looks so cool, especially with the backdrop, because it matches the villains that I have here. And I'm just super excited to see this come to life and the display that I've made for myself here for 1966 Batman. So I hope you enjoyed this, and we're not done yet. We still have more. The Batcave. So the Batcave is really, really cool. It's a little bit too small scale. We had a lot of complaints online, I saw, about fans saying that this was scaled for maybe, vintage scale, like 3.75 inch scale figures. And, the McFarlane figures, they're taller. They're more like 6-7 inch scale. So it's going to be a little off. But I think if you don't put the Batmobile here, because the Mattel one's too big, I think if you just put Batman and Robin in here, it'll look really cool. So here we have our dynamic duo in the Batcave. They look super incredible, in my opinion. I think they look awesome. What's even cool about putting some lighting in here with the remote, I could change the colors in here, and I think the yellow looks pretty good in here. Or you can have, multiple different colors in here, but I think the yellow looks pretty classic 1966 Batcave. And then I put, for fun, the Batcycle in here, just because it fits in there. I'm hoping that in the future we do get a Batgirl and a Commissioner Gordon. That would be awesome. Since we have 4 villains, I'd love to have at least 4 of the good guys. But for now, you have Batman and Robin. That's epic. For me, I love that. And then down here, I was able to fit the Batmobile on the bottom shelf because it's pretty big. So it barely fit there, but it did fit. And then I have my Batcave with Batman and Robin, and I have my villains layer with the villains, and I couldn't be more happy with McFarlane. Thank you so much, McFarlane, for making these toys epic, and Mattel for the Batmobile, because without Mattel we wouldn't have a good Batmobile for Batman and Robin. So I'm very grateful for that. I still don't know what I'm going to do with these. I might end up maybe creatively putting them along the edge of the shelf. Not sure yet, but I probably will find a spot for that eventually. Like I said, this is a dream come true for me. This is my childhood dream. Was to really have this in my collection. So every day it's just going to make me smile when I walk by it, and it's going to remind me of all the good times I had when I was a kid watching the 1966 original Batman show. As always, partners, thank you so much for watching, liking, and commenting on these videos. It really helps support what I do here on YouTube. If you'd like to continue to follow me on this journey, all you have to do is hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, see you later for future videos on this channel, and I'll see you, partners, on the next video review.
You weren't the real Buzz Lightyear. You're an action figure.
You are a sad, strange little man. You are a sad, strange little man. That might be.
You are a child's plaything. Hey, Ham, look, I'm Picasso.
I don't get it.